Hi, it's Dave Kurlan, and I'm here today with Wally Bressler, the creator of the Million Dollar Producer Operating System. And Wally's gonna talk with me over the next 15 minutes about cold calling and other things. Stay tuned to the end so you can hear all about what Wally's done in his career to help others and how to reach him. So it's interesting. There's been a lot of conversation about inbound and how
Yes,
dead on arrival inbound is right now. And most companies haven't figured it out yet. And the ones who have are in denial. But slowly but surely, companies are moving back to the phones and they're
mhm,
getting their salespeople and their BDRs and their SDRs to make cold calls. Of course, there are a couple problems. One is they didn't sign up for that. And the ones who have made them before haven't made them for 15 years. So a lot of the problems that we haven't seen recently that used to be prevalent 10, 15, 20 years ago that you and I both used to fix are going to be
right,
back.
right. Hmm.
What do you
Yep.
have to say about that?
I I think it's still an issue with inbound for some people. Even if they get something teed up, getting somebody from, the 5 yard line into the end zone is still a challenge. And obviously we're talking about call reluctance, sales reluctance, procrastination, perfectionism, imposter syndrome, all those things that have been plaguing salespeople since, I don't know, Coldwell and Banker, picked up a phone back over 100 years ago, whatever it was. But yeah, you know, yeah, it's interesting because and again, this for me, it goes beyond just making the call. I mean, how many people bail? I mean, on the first sign of resistance, I'm not interested, out the door. I mean, 40+% of people don't make one follow-up call, another 40 plus don't make a second follow-up call. So it's, yes, it's the initial call, it's the first outbound, it's talking to people, getting to know them, and it's also all the follow-up that goes with it and what happens intra call, like, but between the whistles, if you will, or for baseball analogy, between the white lines, right? Either way, if that makes sense, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I
exactly.
had to get it in. I had to get it in. So,
Yeah,
right,
you did a great job.
I
The
had to, and
video
you're
with
playing.
a baseball analogy, and I'm
I,
not the one that brought it up.
I
That's
know I
even
had to
better.
though. It's our jam. But that's the whole point. There's so many different parts of that sales call that are an issue. I hear agents all the time. I hear sales, I'm great in front of people. Just get me in front of somebody. Everybody's great in front of somebody. I mean, everybody's better in front of somebody. You know what I'm saying? If you can get me in front of somebody, I'll be great. Okay, good. So
I used
anyway,
to be much more comfortable banging on a door than picking up a phone, except
yeah,
that banging on a door was so inefficient
from a
and
time
so
perspective, yeah.
often resulted in not being able to see somebody. And, in the time it took to bang on one door and try to talk to somebody, I could have dialed the phone 30 times, 30
Yeah, with
different prospects.
dialers even, right?
Yeah.
Here's the other thing. Like I work with people, and you probably have too, who are like, I've worked with people who are pastors, professional trainers, and they have no problem getting in front of somebody. But they couldn't pick up the phone if somebody put $1 million in front of them. But what I've learned is that our brain plays tricks on us. When we're in front of people, we have the illusion that we're controlling what people are thinking about us. But we're not. You can see their faces, right? So you feel like, oh, I'm controlling what they're thinking. No, they're still thinking the same things. In fact, they're thinking about what they got to do later, right? I remember this old joke that somebody said. The guy gets up. This is his starting career. He says, "Hey, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being with me tonight." He says, "I was sitting in my hotel room waiting to, I was planning for today, and I saw a thing on CNN. There was a statistic. It said you can break every audience into thirds." He says a third of you are going to listen to everything I say today, and you're going to get some great takeaways, and you're going to take it back to your business and have great success. A third of you are going to be thinking about everything that you have to do except for what's going on here, and you're already thinking about what you do when you leave. And the third of you are going to be thinking about your most favorite intimate experience. So I'm happy to tell you that at least a third of you are going to enjoy yourself today,
That's
right?
great. That's
Right,
great.
right. But
I
the whole
hadn't
point,
heard that one.
yeah, I know it's an oldie but goodie. It's a good, but the whole point is that it's we're not fool. You can't, your brain fools you, but you're not being fooled. Like if you're talking to people, they're forming an opinion. What is it? Statistically, face to face is 4 seconds. Over the phone, it's a quarter of a second. You've been sized up.
Yeah, it's not very good.
No, not very
And
long either. No.
and the other thing is the in front of somebody, assume somebody has already talked to that person and put you in front of that person. So
Period.
yeah, you're going to be more effective. Yeah,
Period.
it's going to be easier. Yeah, they're at least agreeable to meeting with you or somebody in
Just
your
you speak,
role, and it
right?
happened to
Yeah.
be you, as
Mhm.
opposed to the cold call. But if you think about all the people who have never made cold calls before, but they're in sales, all the under 35, under 40 group, I mean, they had a hard enough time just having conversations since their
Mhm.
idea of a phone is something you use to text somebody.
Right. You could argue these days that cold calling isn't quite as cold as it used to be with the advent of social media and LinkedIn. And I can go on Claude or ChatGPT and say, tell me everything you know about Dave Kurlan. Like, what does Dave Kurlan say about this? What does Dave Kurlan say about that? Right. And then call Dave and say,
And
Dave,
and Claude or Chat or Grok says, "Oh, baseball."
yeah, right. Hey, Dave, you're probably not gonna. Hey, listen, I'm not sure if this idea is a home run for you, but hey, let me ask you. I'm not going to take much time, but are your salespeople must be amazing. None of them are having any trouble getting on the phone. Is that what I'm hearing? Right? We're connected, right? You heard home run, but the point is I can warm up a call a lot easier today than I
Right,
could
because we
even.
can get some pretty good intelligence
Yeah,
ahead of
yeah. But
time.
you know what? If I feel like, and I think I've quoted you in two of my three books. In fact, I got your address. I'm going to send you both of
Hey,
them
why didn't you quote me in the third book? What's wrong with you?
because I wrote it before I met you. And I wrote it before I met you.
So,
So, but no,
so if we're talking about a salesperson getting on the phone,
yes,
there's how they sound. There's
yes,
their message. There's what
yes,
they do to get attention. There's what
yes,
they do to get engagement. There's what they
yes,
do to have a conversation that leads to a meeting. But
right.
none of that freaking matters if they won't pick up the phone and dial it.
7 ounces. That's all
And
you need.
that's
See,
where you come in, right?
yes, 7 ounces. That's all. 7.3 ounces. It's only going to hurt you if I throw it at you if you eat it. But yes, and part of what I quoted, I think I've quoted you at the same time, is that with 59% of all salespeople have a very strong need to be liked. It's okay to want to be liked, but when you need to be liked, that changes everything. There's that need for approval, that need for acceptance, that fear of rejection, that fear of not being good enough that has been going on in your brain since you were one, right? And because our
I was a
brain,
late bloomer. I didn't start thinking like that till I was two.
you're progressive. Okay, very nice. Right. Well, you grew up in Boston, so you're tougher than the average bear anyway. So, but
And you
the
grew
point
up in New
being,
Hampshire, so you were
I,
colder. You
right,
had
right,
to be
yeah,
a
right over
bear.
the border. But well, we got all Boston news. So yeah, we got all Boston news. So you saw all the same people I did. But here's the interesting thing. Our subconscious has no idea that it's today when it comes to most things, right? Almost everything. So something that strikes, that triggers that fear of whatever, your brain goes back to when it first started happening and starts responding to it as if it were that day, right? And so until you learn what the root cause of that is and how to treat it, it's not going away. Never. And it gets worse as you get older
Oh, for
and
sure.
worse and worse and worse. And I mean, and yeah, you're in your 70s now, right? I can't believe you're in your 70s. You look amazing. But
Thank you.
and you're welcome. No, you look great. I mean, but and I've talked to people in their 70s who like, 10 years ago, I had no problem picking up the phone and I was doing this and I was doing that. And all of a sudden, it got harder and harder to pick up the phone. And what we realized is there were things that they just hadn't resolved that had been around such a long time. And eventually your brain's like, hey, I'm super powerful, but you know what? I'm pulling over the car. We're not going another inch until you deal with this. And that's what happens. And people don't realize that block comes about as your brain saying, I can't let you push this down anymore because there's no more space to push it down.
So, how do you help people that have these self-limiting beliefs around
Mhm.
needing to be liked and around rejection and around fear and procrastination and
Mhm.
they just can't pick up the phone and make those calls?
I'm just going to use the graphic over your right shoulder,
Okay. It's
right? That
over.
whole over your right shoulder. It's over it's to your whatever it
Yeah.
is. There's a target there with an arrow, right? You can't hit that target if you can't see it. If I took that whole target and put it behind something, I'm a lot harder hitting the center, right? We got to go find out what caused it. There's a root cause for all of it. And sometimes it's super innocent. And sometimes it's like somebody says something to you one time. It's rooted in, and it's just a matter of, okay, so was there some sort of trauma you experienced? Were you sexually, emotionally, physically abused? Were you emotionally abused by your parents? Or was there an adult that bullied you? Was there a kid that bullied you? Did your parents get divorced when you were younger? Did you have bad stepmother, bad stepfather? Were your parents alcoholics? Did your parents always fight in front of you? Did they never fight in front of you? Sometimes it's single instance things. I have somebody worked with who went and visited a buddy of his, and the kid had just moved to the neighborhood, and he went there every day. And one day he went to the house, and the kid's older brother answered the door, and he said, "Hey, you don't have to come here every day." And that day on triggered him. Oh my God, I'm bothering him. Now, mind you, I met him when he was 55. So for 45 years of his life, he wouldn't do anything that would bother people from that single conversation, right? So we get that fight, fawn, you get that fight, flight. We got fight, fawn, freeze, or flight. Or fight, freeze, fawn, or flight. The whole problem is it kicks in automatically. Nobody teaches how to use it. So anybody who can't get on the phone has their flight instinct kicked in. It's something that triggered them when they were younger. And since that single instance, your brain has been helping you avoid whatever that is your entire life. And so it feels like I don't like cold calls myself. I'm bothering people. It's too early. It's too late. As you're just saying, brain saying, hey, we're going to protect you. We're going to keep you out of those situations.
Now, over your left shoulder is the $1 million producer logo.
Yes, it
And
is.
and somebody listening to us, hopefully there's more than one somebody and there's a whole bunch of somebodies,
Yes.
they wouldn't be faulted if they came to the conclusion that, hey, that dude Wally sounds a lot like a sales therapist.
Okay. I'm not a legal therapist, and I'm telling you right now that I'm not a therapist. Everything that I teach people is from my own experience. Okay. Because I left all of my issues unattended to for 50 years, and addictions to money, to pornography, to food. My weight got over 540 pounds. I mean, I've blown $7 million. I was, terrible. I went to federal prison for a year because I was wanting to make money, wasn't paying attention to details. And I let fear rule my life and didn't do anything. And so I just kept working. I had call reluctance for 10 years myself, but I'm not a therapist. I'm just saying that I learned that all the things that caused me to make the horrible decisions and to not lean in and to not be committed to getting the results that I want, I realized it all came from not resolving the things that have been plaguing me for 50 years. And it just translated. So I'm not a therapist, I'm not a counselor. I just know that if you tell me, I can tell you in 5 minutes, and if you tell me how your parents' relationship was with each other and with you, I can tell you exactly why you can't pick up the phone.
That's
It's
pretty
that simple.
cool.
It's that simple. And I don't give therapy to anybody, but I can take people through a process to make it go away for good, because the same process that got you to where you are is the same process that's going to get you out of it.
So if you're listening and you need to pick up the phone and you need to make some calls and you need to book some meetings and you don't feel real good about doing that, Wally is your guy. How do they reach you, Wally?
Well, they can call my cell phone, 214-334-1356. Or you can email me, Wally at $1 million producer OS, which is operating system, $1 million producer OS.com. And you can reach out. I'm on social media. If you click on Dave, you'll see that I'm one of his connections. I've helped hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of salespeople go from not being able to pick up the phone to being $1 million producers. People making half a million, $1 million a year in sales and commissions. And here's a great thing: once it's gone, it's gone.
And your story is the most awesome, incredible, unbelievable story I've
Oh,
ever
thank you.
heard.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, you know it, right? Yeah, right. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. It's funny to hear people, would you do it all again? No, I'm not sure I'll do it all again. You know what I'm saying? But I guess there's enough of it that if I did some of it again, I could still arrive where I am here. But yeah, and I appreciate that. That's very kind of you to say. I appreciate that. And I think what it's allowed me to do is to be able to do this for people now and collapse time. You know, what took me 51 years and then almost 4 years of therapy to figure out, I can help somebody figure out in 8 weeks.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's
Pretty
great. Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, yeah,
Awesome
100%.
offer and a great promise on the other end.
Yeah,
It's
thank you,
been
sir.
great talking to you today,
Thanks,
Wally.
brother. I
I hope
appreciate
you
it.
all take advantage of Wally's help and let him turn you into $1 million producer and make you want to be on the phone.
Yes, sir. And by the way, I think we knocked this interview out of the park.
Yeah, grand slam, dude.
Touch them all. I appreciate you. Thank you.